is December 30th. I'm so excited. We only have one more day, and that means I almost did. I wish I could add clapping right here. I'm still working on it. Anyway, I just want to tell y'all. Y'all see my hair? Y'all see my pink robe? I got this for Christmas. Baby giving, okay? She giving pink because she know I like it. And it has a hood. Wait, hold on. Let me show y'all. Yes, I'm giving Muhammad Aliyah. Just kidding. I think it's cute. Anyway. I just want to say, so unfortunately I did test positive for COVID, so I stay in the house for sure now. But I feel fine. I actually feel a lot better. Y'all been hearing me, the congestion, all that stuff, but I really feel fine now. So the one thing I really wanted to share about today is I finally started reading or rereading my book, The Big Leap. So I've read some of it, but I hadn't really got into the good parts yet. And that was like really frustrating for me because I hate when books start slow, because if you hear it's a really good book, you want to know why it's a good book. And so I'm not gonna lie, I bought this like probably a year ago. It's a hard read. The Big Leap by Gay Hendricks. Great book, supposedly a great book, but it starts really slow, so it's hard. Like he kind of talks about all these concepts, you don't really know what he's talking about yet. And then he finally starts introducing. So actually today, I finally got past, well, the day before today. So yesterday. So I'm sorry. My days are getting like ran together. I told y'all I've been in the house kind of too long. Anyway, so yesterday I read the part that like I've been like stuck on for like over a year or almost a year. And so then today, I read most of chapter 1. I think I finished chapter 1. Let me look in my book. Yeah, I read through chapter 1 today. So I've pretty much been reading the introduction for over a year. Back and forth. I'll go back and reread it because I'm like, I don't remember that. And then I realized I read all of that. Anyway, the book starts off talking about the upper limit problem. And the reason I'm telling y'all this is so that like y'all will take a chance and read it. For me, I know that I'm just learning so much about myself in this journey so far. The Big Leap is something that I've been wanting to read because I know I've been wanting to take a big leap. I've been wanting to pivot in this thing called life and like try something new. And so the book starts off talking about the upper limit problem. Basically what that is we have a tendency to only allow ourselves so much happiness or so much success, so much creativity, and then there's like almost like an invisible glass ceiling, right? So we all know what the glass ceiling is, right? They say women have this issue in the workforce where we have a glass ceiling that we can't, like we can see through it. So that's why it's called glass, so you can see what's happening above you. But men typically get better jobs, better pay, and they can obviously get to whatever height they want to get to. But women, for some reason, cannot shatter that ceiling, so they call it the glass ceiling. Well, the upper limit problem, the way it's described in this book is very similar to that, but he's saying everybody deals with it. So even if you're the most successful person, and he uses really great examples of like these really successful entrepreneurs that we know by name, and then there's other people he's just using in this book, who have been affected by the upper limit problem, because everybody gets it. You know, your level of what the highest level of success is, or just some level of success, you have a tendency to sabotage that. And you won't let yourself experience the greatest level of happiness, the highest level of financial gain. You mess it up. He used an example about like a guy, he was already rich and hit the lotto for like 300,000. Shout out to Lotto. But I think he's 300 million. I said 300,000. I think he hit 300 million. And he like continued to sabotage his winnings, his earnings, like just crazy stuff he was doing. And he was like, we have a tendency to take that joy away from ourselves because we it's uncomfortable to be that happy. But he, he kind of starts off the introduction kind of like, are you ready to have that? Do you want to experience that? I want that for you. And so I love it because I'm like, okay, yeah, but get to it. How do I get there? Like, that was me. So finally I got through that first little introduction and I read through the first chapter today. And this is what I really wanted to share with y'all. So he talks about it. He says that there are these excuse me. Nobody's in here with me. That's why I didn't cover my mouth. Sorry. So he says there are four activities in the world, or there are activities in the world that occur in four main zones. So in order to solve the upper limit problem, we have to know what zone we're in and then get to the best zone. So there's four zones. So the first zone is the zone of incompetence. And it says the zone of incompetence is made up of all the activities we're not good at. So I underline what I need to kind of like point out. So the zone of incompetence, you're not good at it and you waste your time doing it, right? An example he gave was like this guy, terrible at like electronics, spent 13 hours in one weekend trying to hook up an electronic printer. And I visualized all this and thinking like getting frustrated, walking away, coming back. And then he ended up paying a kid down the street $100 to do it. And the kid didn't even want money for it. Like, he just knew how to do it. But this man gets paid for his time consulting $1,000 an hour, $10,000 in a day of his time. But he wasted his time trying to hook up a printer where he could have afforded to pay somebody a lot less money and then they'd been done a lot quicker. And he said that the only reason he was doing it was to save a little bit of money. And then he just wasted time and money. So that's the zone of incompetence. And then the second space is the zone of competence. So you're competent at the activities in the zone of competence, but others can do them just as well. So basically, the example he gave was like, if you have a tendency to not delegate because you think you can do it the best, or it's just easier when you do it faster. Well, we have a tendency to stay in that zone too, because, we exert so much energy, even though like really you could let somebody else do that. So he gave this example of like this executive assistant or somebody and how she wouldn't allow these other younger interns or whatever do the work when really she was like exerting so much of her energy in that space. Even though, we know she can do it. She's competent enough to do it, but you should be focusing on something else. So then, let's see, the third area is the zone of excellence. And he said this one is like a dangerous area. So in the zone of excellence are the activities you do extremely well. The temptation is strong to remain in the zone of excellence. It's where your own addiction to comfort wants you to stay. So we have these spaces where we're uncomfortable. We'll be in that space, or we are very comfortable. So we'll stay in that space. But the most comfort you might have is, and that's the like third level, is your zone of excellence. You do it so freaking well. Like nobody probably does it better than you because you've been trained so long to do something well, or you kind of naturally have gained, this strength, in working out these muscles, whether that be your physical muscles or your brain muscles for that area. He didn't use an example, but he just kind of said like we all tend to stay here the longest, and it's dangerous because there's only one place where you will ultimately thrive and feel satisfied, and that's in the zone of genius. And I'll say this, he didn't give an example, but I thought about how, my wife said to me the other day, she was like, I feel like we're in a left brain. Well, she said we're in a left brain society. And she was like, I feel like you've been working that side of you your entire life, which is why you're such a smart person. You have good discipline. You will go to school. You will finish. So she was like, you want to be there. Like that's because that's your comfort level. She was like, but I feel like, and she was like, your mom did this awesome job of raising you and, kind of pushing you into like, you're smart, you can do this, you're capable, your family, having expectations at you. But she was like, but what makes someone unique and uniquely fitting? She was like, I keep saying he because I'm thinking about the book, but she was saying to me like, you are capable of like this creative work. And she was like, but I feel like you've never really exercised it. You've had these spouts where you've done it, but you haven't really exercised that muscle. And so it's not comfortable to you. Even though you naturally have these creative skills, but you haven't mastered it because you don't work that muscle out. And she was like, but the best or most, the most uniquely gifted people are the people who are, like, think about it, ambidextrous, right? So a person that's right-handed, or most of the world is right-handed. So our society is a right-handed society. But people who are left-handed have to function in a right-handed society. So if, for example, golf club, you go to a range and there might be a left golf club, but it's maybe one, and it might not be your size, right? And she was like, but there are all sorts of right clubs. And she was saying how, like, you know, she was like, but those people who are left-handed tend to be ambidextrous simply because they have to, right? And so they can function in either kind of world. And she was like, I think that's kind of how, like, you are in your own mindset. Like, you are left-brained by the nature of the society that's around you and what was told to you to be the right thing. But she was like, I think that naturally you are creative and you need to express that more in your own ways so that you can be where you want to be. And essentially what she didn't know she was saying to me was so that I could be in my zone of genius. And so I'll tell you what that is really quick. Liberating and expressing your natural genius is your ultimate path to success and life satisfaction. Your zone of genius is the set of activities you are uniquely suited to do. They draw upon your special gifts and strengths. Your zone of genius beckons you with increasingly strong calls as you go through life. And I mean, there's so much more, but I'm not gonna read his book on camera. But I would encourage y'all to read The Big Leap. I'm reading it right now. I was supposed to do this with my friends. We were supposed to start a book club earlier this year. We did not. Oh my gosh, it's so terrible. Well, no, it was last year, I think. Because like I said, I bought this book last year. But I'm going to get back on it because I love reading. I love learning. But I also know, like she was saying and pouring into me, like, I also have this creative side and I want to express it and learn it and master it. Because that's a part of my, like, personality. And it's crazy because I read this and I was like, oh, now I'm ready. Like, remember how I was telling y'all, like, I was trying to find the good part of this book. I already found it. First chapter. So I know that there's more stuff for me to read and enjoy and learn. But I think more than anything, this is the part that I was kind of telling y'all about. Like, obviously, I'm just recording bits and pieces in my life. But also, like, again, just the level of encouragement. I'm going to keep reading and keep, pushing stuff out there. So anything I read, I'm definitely going to share with y'all, whether that's on social media, on Instagram, on YouTube. If I decide I'm going to, like, share some of the book, maybe I'll start a virtual book club. I don't know. It'll be fun. You never know what can happen. But what I do want to say is, I think reading stuff like this is so helpful for us because we find so much of our gifts and talents in remembering or recognizing the things that are wrong, or like it seems like it's in plain sight, but having a word, having something to conceptualize what we're feeling is so helpful. So for me, again, recognizing that I've been in the zone of incompetence. I just don't do this well. I've been in the zone of competence where I do it really well and I have a hard time letting it go to somebody else. I've been in the zone of not intelligence. What's the third one? Excellence. I've been there for a while in my career and been frustrated because I'm like, why can't I do more? Like, because I just want to keep getting better at it. But like in reality, like I haven't been in my zone of genius yet. And there's these little spots and pockets where I feel like I love this. I could do this all day long. I could, in the middle of doing what I'm supposed to be doing something else. You know what I'm saying? So that's what I'm saying. Like, I want to be in the zone of genius forever. Like, as long as I can. And so, again, being able to conceptualize what you want to do or how you want to get to a certain place is so beautiful. So being able to have things like this book or, something else you might read or whatever it is that you do to get maybe a spirituality. I know I have a friend who is, honestly, I go to her a lot for like spiritual connection and just learning more as it relates to, because I have faith, right? But everybody has somebody that they go to kind of figure out how to get deeper in that, right? And so she is a really good friend of ours who I hope to have her on my podcast one day. She's just amazing. But one of the things she does, like, we don't even believe all the same things, but her connection to her inner self, that also is a part of spirituality. And I love that about her. That's one of the major things I love about her. She's so in tune with her and the God within her. You know, we believe that, you know, God is everywhere, but we don't really express that, right? In religion, you don't get to talk about all the facets of like how big God really is, because we make God almost to be a human to conceptualize it for our own minds. In reality, if you believe in Christianity, God is not human at all. God is a being, is a spirit. At least it's how you're taught. But you're also taught that God was a human in the form of Jesus, and we're taught that he is a spirit in the form of the Holy Ghost or the Holy Spirit. And it's crazy because it's like, again, in any religion, the one God, whether, you know, most large religions across the world, or prominent religions, whether they say God, Allah, or whatever else, like the concept is that the big being or the one God or whatever is one big thing, and like we all make it still to be like one thing, and only to be not human, right? But then we turn around and still like make all these other concepts, and again, to fit in our own mindset. And I think that excuse me, what I'm getting at, I'm not really trying to talk about religion. What I am saying is that we make things make sense for us. And so if that makes sense for you, great. But I think that's what I'm saying. It's like, how do you go deeper into whatever it is you do believe? Because one part of it is conceptualizing it to make it make sense to you. But then how do you go deeper into that so that no one, like, to make it your belief system? Because, like, so that nobody can tell you that you're wrong. So I think for me, going deeper, bringing this back full circle, bringing this back full circle to what I'm saying is, right now, I've been trying for weeks, for months, for years to really figure out what I'm trying to get to and how do I get there. But having the concept of just like 4 main zones and like the zone of genius is really what I want to get to. Being able to talk about that in length for myself, or like process that for myself, now I can have the confidence that I want to have when sharing my plan, right? Because even with sharing with y'all, I've been honest, but it's hard. Like, it's hard to talk about certain stuff and I catch myself on camera. If I don't want to talk about it, I might delete that part. That's not really being 100% authentic, but because you're not sharing every little bit. My point is, I never want to be inauthentic, but I also know that certain things should be private. And so that's what I'm saying. It's like, I want to be authentically myself, but I also want to be aware of what I'm talking about. And so you don't ever want to like make yourself look kind of crazy because you don't know what you're saying, because you're really working it out through your conversations. I want to be sure of what I'm saying, and I want to be positive so that when you combat whatever I feel, it doesn't do anything for me because I'm confident in what I'm saying to you, right? So that's why I used religion as an example. Hope that wasn't confusing. But either way, I'm having a blast just figuring all this out. I hope that you guys are connecting with it. It's making sense to you. Like and comment if you are. Let me know how you're feeling, how you're doing with your experience. I hope this 30-day journey or 31-day journey is really testing you to think about your own experience and your own journey and pivoting, whatever that looks like. I have so many wonderful friends doing so many wonderful things in education, in finance, in engineering and things like that. And it's like, even in your own zone of genius, I hope that you're figuring out, or in your zone of excellence, I hope that you're figuring out if that is your actual zone of genius and you love it, or if you need to like pivot to get to that point. Now that we have, like I said, this concept, I hope that you'll stay on this journey with me. And until tomorrow, our last day here, let's figure it out together. And I will say this, if you really, really love what I've been doing, please let me know. I want to keep doing more. I don't know what else I should share with y'all, what else you want to learn about or know about with me. If this is helping you at all, let me know. And I'll keep doing my part. But until tomorrow, our last day, let us all be excited in the journey, right? Right? Until tomorrow, peace out, y'all.